DIYers, what's going on? Mike Boers with the Mike Boers channel. Thank you for watching. We're talking iris plants. We're going to show you what we do in the fall season, basically to prepare them for the next spring season. And we're going to give you a full 1-year cycle of the life of an iris plant. Let's get started. Here we are outside DIYers, and pretty chilly at night. As you can see, the iris plants themselves have a dry look to them. Let's check this one out. And our drip line system was shut off a month ago. Look at that. And I personally leave the iris plant as you see them here. And we've got some more over there. There's our DIY raptor. And the reason I do that is because the plants themselves, as they dry up in the colder months, give it that Halloween/Thanksgiving color and look to them. And that is pretty cool theme-wise in the garden this time of year for us. However, again, as I mentioned in the intro, hands off. We're not going to do any maintenance with the iris plants themselves this time of year. We are going to allow the plant to self-manage and make its transition from the current weather into the cold and freezing cold winter months. And we will show you what we do with them in the spring. DIYers, we are outside, springtime, and it's kind of raining. Didn't really pick a good day to do this, but at least kind of calm winds. Hopefully that'll remain. Here is the garden, and we've got several iris plants. And here's what they look like after taking on the winter weather, snow, ice, etc. And what we're going to do is clean each of these plants up, remove all the dead portions. And let's hop to the opposite side. I do want to show you one. And they're already about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches tall. I could have done this a couple weeks ago. Right now it's almost the end of April. However, I wait just so that the plants can gain some strength, which will alleviate them coming out of the ground when I swipe all the dead stuff away. Let's reposition the camera and get started. And all I'm going to do is basically take my hand and carefully swipe the dead portions of the plant away. And you'll notice they're not really holding on. They come up pretty easily, as well as a bunch of leaves. There's a few that you may have to get down to the root portion and pull out, as shown here. And DIY is a huge difference, as you can see. I will remove all the dead portions of the plant from last season. May grab my blower and blow those leaves away. However, what we'll do is do the rest of the iris plants. That one's a big one. And I'll show you that one as well. To a close-up of the plant we just cleaned up. Big difference. And a lot of dead plant from last season, as you can see here. Taking a step back, I'll show you one more. And again, this should take maybe about a minute each plant. And again, smaller than the others, but that is okay. That will fill out. That's almost 5 inches tall. The pile of dead plant from last season is growing. DIYers, we are making progress. As you can see, I got to start pulling out some grass that's growing right now. And again, a big pile of dead plant from last season. What I'm going to do now is grab the leaf blower and blow out all the leaves. Taking a step back in DIYers, as you saw, that just took maybe 10 minutes. Seen about 2 weeks with a 2-week update. Still calm winds, sun is starting to poke through the overcast skies. To the backyard, where we have additional irises. And DIYers, did I forget to mention, literally, your irises will grow faster and sooner than any other plant in your garden, or in case in our garden. Not a single thing has grown or bloomed but the irises. Back outside, DIYers, a 1-week update, and the irises are growing fast, as you can see. Check that out. While everything else in the garden hasn't really taken off yet. There is our hydrangea. And let's go over here. And that one's almost a foot tall. Check that out. And again, while nothing else is really growing or blooming yet, there's our knockout roses. And a closer view of our knockout rose line. Again, too early right now. Haven't really taken off yet, but they'll be pretty. To the back steps, and this one is in some parts almost 1.5 feet. I gotta hide the drip line, get that out of the sun, maybe move some mulch from a different portion of the garden. And scrolling above right now is a link to a video that shows and talks more about our drip line system. Definitely check that out. See you in a bit. DIYers, good morning on this very gloomy May 1st and calm winds. And our irises have grown a few inches, as you can see. And a little bit of life on our hydrangea, check that out. However, back to the irises, let's go over to these few. We're now well over 1.5 feet, 1.5 feet basically. Look at that gloomy sky. To the back steps, and these irises get the late afternoon westerly sun. And they are every bit of 1.5 feet, 1.5 feet. And no signs or life of spring corn. However, it's only a matter of time. 2-week update, DIYers. Very sunny morning and warm, and significant growth just in 2 weeks. We can actually see the buds beginning to arrive, and above 2 feet, on their way to 3 feet. Check that out. Very healthy. Very healthy. To the back steps, and this gets the shade in the morning and the sun in the afternoon. You can see our lilies as well. But again, the iris is healthy, and you can see the buds beginning to arrive. Back outside, here is a 1-week update, and they are growing fast. As you can see, quite a lot has happened in just a short week. Let's go over here. We can see this iris plant is beginning to bloom. Those are going to be gorgeous. Look at that. We may be just 2 to 3 days away from this entire iris portion of the garden exploding into beautiful flowers. To the back steps, and same thing. Just a few days away from beautiful bloom flowers. We will see when that happens. Back outside, and another calm wind, gloomy, wet morning. And this is a 2-day update. As you can see, the flowers continue to bloom. And I'll be honest, DIYers, I was never a fan of iris plants until recent, and I'm a fan now for two reasons. Number one, as you can see, they're pretty, no denying that. And number two, the way I look at them, they're the first of the party. They're the plants that basically start the party and set the tone. Taking a look over here, as you can see, my knockout roses are growing, however, have not bloomed, and those are a ways out. To the back steps, and as you can see, everything's growing, but nothing's blooming yet except for the irises. Here we are with a 2-day update, and we've got some additional colors inside the garden from the iris plants. As you can see, we've got what looks like kind of purplish pink and yellow, which is very pretty. Really, really pretty. We're back outside, 2-week update, and we're getting lucky with these calm wind days. It's about 2 in the afternoon, and you can see a big difference in the iris plants. A lot of them have dried up, as you see. The plants themselves continue to get slightly bigger and more full. And DIYers, we don't do anything at this point. We just let the iris plants self-manage. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Back outside, DIYers, and it just rained again, and calm winds. This is just over a 3-week update. You can see not only the irises, but additional plants in the garden, including the hydrangea. And that one have really progressed. They're gorgeous. However, back to the irises. Not much of a difference from the last update. What we will do now is wait for the first week of July, where we will begin pruning, and we'll talk about that when that time comes. Back outside, good morning to you. It is the first week of July 7th to be exact. We are going to begin pruning our iris plants for a couple different reasons. Number one, the obvious, it is going to clean up the plant, make it look a lot more presentable and healthy. And number two, it's going to take the workload off the plant itself. And unfortunately, our beautiful flowers have dried up, and that's what they look like. So what we'll do is begin pruning the stems. Coming inside the garden, I'm going to start with this plant here, and depending on what you read, who you talk to, you'll get a few different answers and recommendations on how to prune your iris plants, which is awesome. The iris plant itself is a very friendly managing plant. And I recently talked to my Aunt Sheila, and the iris plant is her favorite plant. So we chatted for a few minutes. She gave me some good pointers on how to manage the iris plant throughout the summer. And what we'll do, grab yourself a nice pair of pruners. And again, it will be personal preference on where you make your cut. However, for us, we are going to go down to the base and come up about 3 to 7 inches and cut the stems. Coming inside the iris plant, I want to point this out. You see the stem right here, and it gets down to a point where leaves are wrapping around it and growing out of the base. So we'll cut above that, and that will be about 5 to 7 inches above the grade. And when it comes time for the cut, most people will tell you to cut at an angle. There we are. And we'll set that aside. What we'll do is continue pruning the remainder stems of our plants, making progress, as you can see. And that really cleaned up the appearance of the plant themselves. They look a lot more presentable, a lot more healthy. From here, we'll direct our attention back to the iris plant, and this is personal preference from here. Some people do it, some people don't. As you can see, some leaves get to a point where they grow up and they are top heavy and they begin bending over. If you're okay with that, you can leave them as is, which really is not a problem, but some people will prune those. And just like the stems, you want to cut those at an angle. In addition, some people in the middle of July will actually trim the entire plant down to between 5 and 7 inches, which honestly is another idea you might want to take into consideration as an option. Again, the iris plant is a very friendly managing plant and gives you a lot of options. To the opposite side, and as you can see with this leaf, it has become top heavy and is now beginning to bend over And same thing, what we'll do is go between about 3 to 7 inches from the grade, and again, cut at an angle. Try to get to the back side of it here, just like that. As you can see, here's my cut at an angle. Now to the plant just to the left of that, and as you can see with this leaf, it is beginning to kind of discolor and dry out a bit. And you will see this a lot. As you can see, it even gets worse down here. And again, by cutting away those stems, as well as leaves that are top heavy and bending over, it takes the workload off the base to allow it to send the nutrients and the water and additional strength outward to the remaining leaves to keep them healthy. So what we'll do is prune this, again, between 3 to 7 inches from the grade. Coming up top, we will do that one as well. As you can see, that tip has dried out and we are going to cut that away. Making progress, DIYers. I have cut away the dry, kind of dying-like leaves. And again, a lot more cleaner and presentable as far as looks. And as you make those cuts to the stems, you will notice a lot of water pours out of those stems. And those stems are not going to produce any additional blooms this season. So what those stems are doing is basically robbing the plant itself of water and nutrients. And now that they have been cut away, all of that water and nutrients will go right into the leaves and continue to give a healthy look. Back outside, DIYers, and here is a 2.5, almost 3-week update, and the lilies have really taken off. They are gorgeous. It's a windy day, I do apologize about that. And the irises are doing well, and a couple irises up the walkway have a few leaves that are not only bending over but are dry. But again, in the event that that happens, come in at an angle with your clippers or pruners and cut the folded over leaf or dry leaf away to continue that really healthy look to the plant. And it is windy. Here we are with a 3-week update. You can see our lily plants have made quite the change in the last 3 weeks. However, I just did a little bit of cleanup, and those portions were at the base, right in that section right there. However, I see a couple leaves that have dry tips, and again, cut at an angle. You can go all the way to maybe a couple inches from the soil, or you can just make a cut right where it is and remove that dry portion. And again, you can also do that to those that are tall and curling over. That is all personal preference. Got one right here I'll cut. Back with a 2-week update, and a couple additional leaves, as you can see, are drying out. I'll make some cuts, but in this video I want to focus on the actual stems that we cut earlier. As you can see right there, no additional growth out of them, as you can see. And what it's doing now is allowing the nutrients to feed back into the plant, which is a good thing. And again, dry, no additional growth since we cut it. And coming up, I'll move some leaves, go down, and see a second one here. As you can see, again, no additional growth. It is dry at the tip and the nutrients feeding back into the base. Back at it with another update, and it is the middle of September. And at this point, I am going to basically end my pruning or clipping of the iris leaves and plant, and basically allow it to transition into the fall stage of its life. As you can see, it is raining right now. And we're about maybe a week or 2 away from having our entire drip line system flushed with air. So at that point, the plants themselves are on their own. However, again, we are going to allow the plants to transition to basically the fall stage of their life, and that will continue to dry out the plant. And DIYers, it is getting really cold at night. I'll give you another update here shortly. All right, back outside, DIYers, a 10-day update, and not much difference, as you can see. So there they go. Neat. However, back to the iris plant. We have officially drained and shut off our entire drip line system for the season. Wow, they're loud. From here, again, we're just going to allow the plant itself to run its cycle, transition from the summer warm weather into the fall, and here in a month we will be right back to where we started last fall. DIYers, we hope this helped. We hope you enjoyed the video. Do us a favor, below the video you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. Airplane up there now too.